Come on, let's raise our voices, put our hands together and give an acclamation. Let's give an acclamation of praise unto our God. Raise your voice in adoration and exaltation. Welcome to our POA Men's Conference 2016. You honor us by coming, and I pray you will honor God while you are here. Yes. Turn to somebody next to you, shake their hand firmly, and tell them, I'm going to bless you. You may be seated. He was unequivocal. Moses was in that first older testament. If he said, thy presence go not with me, then carry us not up hence. For wherein shall it be known that I and thy people have found grace in thy sight? Is it not that thou goest with us? So shall we be separated, I and thy people, from all the people that are on the face of the earth. What separated God's people then and now, whether for Israel or for us, was the presence of the Almighty, the divine presence. Walking, working, moving, manifesting among them and among us. It was not just their rituals and their ordinances. It wasn't just the way they wore their garments or planted their fields. It was the supernatural presence of God that was on them. When their sticks and wands, when their wiles and wills, when their meditations and enchantments could no longer mimic Moses' miracles. It's what made pharaohs, sorcerers, and magicians say, this is the finger of God. And I'm rising to tell you, if there is anything we need among us tonight, it is the finger of God. According to Psalm 68, the earth shook, the heavens dropped, Sinai itself was moved at God's presence. Isaiah wistfully yearned for God to rend the heavens and come down, that the mountains might flow down at the Lord's presence. When Habakkuk the prophet encountered God, his belly trembled, his lips quivered, his knees buckled, and there was rottenness in his bones. Adam hid. Thomas cried, my Lord and my God. The centurions who had come to arrest him fell backward to the ground. John the Beloved fell dead. In Acts 2, great fear came upon them. In Acts 4, they took note of disciples that they had been with Jesus. According to 1 Chronicles 16, glory and honor are in his presence. Strength and gladness is in his place. The psalmist said, thou wilt show me the path of life. And then unequivocally declared, in thy presence is fullness of joy, and at thy right hand are pleasures forevermore. Isaiah thundered to God's people, hast thou not known? Hast thou not heard? The everlasting God, the Lord, the creator of the ends of the earth, fainteth not, neither is he weary. There is no searching his understanding. He giveth power to the faint, to them that hath not might. He increaseth strength. Even the youth shall faint and be weary, and the young men shall utterly fall. But they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint. There is power in his presence. Somebody clap your hands and shout yes. When that presence lighted upon a mountain, that mountain smoked. When it settled upon the earth, the ground began to quake. When it passed before that beleaguered prophet Elijah at the mouth of a cave, there was wind and fire. Daniel had the presence, and the lions got lockjaw. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego had the presence, and their flesh wouldn't burn. Because I'm telling you tonight that anything can happen and all things are possible when God's glory is manifest among his people. Hear the apostolic writer. He said, for God commanded the light to shine out of darkness, hath shined in our hearts to give the light of the knowledge of the glory of God in the face of Jesus Christ. God, who commanded the light to shine out of darkness, hath shined in our hearts. The glory of God is in the face, the Bible said, of Jesus Christ. I am now with you, he said, but I shall be in you. And the Holy Ghost is Christ in you, the hope of glory. Paul thundered to the Philippians. Watch this. He said, but my God shall supply all your need. Watch it. According to his riches in glory by Jesus Christ. So God's riches are in his glory. The storehouse out of which our need is supplied is God's glory. His riches are in his glory. And notwithstanding our long-held assumption that glory is a place, I'm rising to tell you tonight that I think it's a person and a performance. It's the manifestation and might and majesty of our God. Our need is supplied according to his riches that is in his glory by Jesus Christ. Little wonder that this fabulous, inviolable, blessed book said, we have this treasure in earthen vessels. God's glory is in this place because God's glory is in his people and is on the men that are in this house. And the riches from which God supplies our need is in his glory. He closed that first older testament through Malachi, saying, I am the Lord, and I change not. In the Hebrew letter, he called himself Jesus Christ the same, yesterday, today, and forever. A God without variableness or shadow of turning. And thankfully, the record of our race is brimful with evidence that men can experience God. Adam and Eve experienced him in the garden. Noah met him at a post-ark altar, and Enoch was translated. Abraham's met him on the plains of Mamre, and Jacob at Luz and Jabbok. Moses encountered him beside a fiery bush, and Joshua at the walls of Jericho. Samson found him in a heathen temple, and Deborah in the valley of Jezreel. Elijah met him on the summit of Carmel, and Elisha no fewer than 14 times. Saul met God among the prophets. David with a psaltery and a song. Isaiah when his king Uzziah died. Jeremiah in a dungeon. Ezekiel by the river Shabar. There is no doubt, there is no denying that God has ever and that God does now make his power and his presence available to be encountered and to experience by you and I. You and I can expect to experience the divine presence in this place tonight. See, some would have us think that those first churches founded, shepherded by the disciples themselves were, in fact, places of unprecedented power, that they were paragons of purity, that those churches were models of the faith, exemplary in their doctrine and deportment. But the truth is, those churches experienced heresy. They had schisms. They fought false doctrine. They contended with corruption. Their members had trouble. They quarreled among themselves. You read the Revelation, and you'll see without exception that in all of those churches, there was an intermingling. There was a strange admixture of good and evil existing together. In the profile from Patmos that was given to John by Jesus, we see those first churches as they really were. And we see that even there were some people that had true faith, and some who had false faith, and others who had no faith at all. Among those who were devout and dedicated unto the death, there were some whose hearts were in the world and who had lost their first love. Among the children of light, there were children of darkness. Some of them were righteous and some were wrong. There was good and evil, wheat and tares, and they were there, all of them together in those churches. So the next time that you punch pause pending perfection in yourself or your congregation, thinking that God is holding himself in abeyance until everything is as it ought to be, let me tell you that right there in the midst of those churches, there was something else besides trouble. Because John said, in the midst of the candlesticks, I saw one like unto the Son of Man. He was clothed with a garment down to the foot. He was girt about the paps with a golden girdle. His head and hair were white like wool, as white as snow. His eyes were as a flame of fire. His feet were like unto fine brass, as if they burned in a furnace. His voice as a sound of many waters. He had in his right hand 7 stars, and out of his mouth went a sharp 2-edged sword, and his countenance was as the sun shining in his strength. John said, when I saw him, I fell as dead. And he laid his right hand upon me, saying, fear not, for I am the first and the last. I am he that liveth and was dead, and behold, I am alive forevermore, and have the keys to hell and to death. Jesus Christ was then, and he is now in the midst of his church. Hallelujah. Despite our faults, our failures, our imperfections, absolutely nothing can keep Jesus Christ out of His church. Stand to your feet. So while you're here these few hours, today and tomorrow, you can expect to experience the supernatural. Isaiah 8:18 says, I and the children God has given me are for signs and for wonders. Come on, somebody say it. Let the devil and all the fiends of hell hear you. Say, I was built for signs and wonders. You can expect to experience the supernatural in this place tonight, because God is in this people and God is in this place, and wherever God's presence is, anything can happen, and all things are possible. Clap your hands. Clap your hands. Shout unto God. Clap your hands. Close your eyes. Set this on the floor. I believe that things are going to happen in this room tonight and tomorrow morning that are going to change your life individually. I believe things will transpire that will change your family. I believe things will happen in men in these next few hours that will change churches in this Florida district. And I believe when our churches change, we'll change our communities. Some of us walked in this room tonight, head bowed, back bent. Our adversary having convinced us beyond shadow of doubt that our failures, our faults, our imperfections have separated us, have put the supernatural presence of God beyond our reach. I'm rising to tell you the devil is a liar and the father of all lies, and the truth is not in him. You and I may be only a man, but God has chosen to dwell in us. And everybody said amen. You may be seated.
also was corrupt before God, and the earth was filled with violence. And God looked upon the earth, and behold, it was corrupt, for all flesh had corrupted his way upon the earth.
Yeah.
And God said unto Noah, the end of all flesh is come before me, for the earth is filled with violence through them, and behold, I will destroy them with the earth.
And as it was in the days of Noah, so shall it be also in the days of the Son of Man. They did eat, they drank, they married wives, they were given in marriage, until the day that Noah entered into the ark, and the flood came and destroyed them all.
Likewise, also as it was in the days of Lot, they did eat, they drank, they bought, they sold, they planted, and they built. But the same day that Lot went out of Sodom, it rained fire and brimstone from heaven, and it destroyed them all. Even thus shall it be in the day when the Son of Man is revealed.
For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass. But the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. And there shall be famines, and pestilence, and earthquakes in divers places. All these are just the beginning of sorrows.
Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and they shall kill you, and ye shall be hated of all the nations for my name's sake. And then shall many be offended, and shall betray one another, and shall hate one another. And many false prophets shall arise, and they shall deceive many. And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold.
This know also, that in the last days perilous times shall come. For men shall be lovers of their own selves, covetous, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy, without natural affection, truce breakers, false accusers, incontinent, fierce, despisers of those that are good,
Traitors, hating, high-minded, lovers of pleasures more than lovers of God, having a form of godliness, but denying the power thereof. From such turn away.
For the time will come when they will not endure sound doctrine, but after their own lust shall heap to themselves teachers having itching ears, and they shall turn away their ears from the truth, and shall be turned unto fables.
But you
are a chosen generation. You are a royal priesthood, a holy nation. You are a peculiar people, that you should show forth the praises of him who has called you out of darkness and into his marvelous light.
We are
not of them who draw back of perdition, but of them that believe to save their soul.
And every spirit that confesseth not that Jesus Christ is come in the flesh is not of God. And this is that spirit of Antichrist, whereof ye have heard that it should come, and even now already is it in the world. Ye are of God, little children, and have overcome them, because greater is he that is in you than he that is in the world.
For God has not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and love and of a sound mind.
And it shall come to pass afterward that I will pour out of my spirit upon all flesh, and your sons and your daughters shall prophesy.
Your old men shall dream dreams.
Your young men shall see visions.
Yes, amen.
So say to them of a fearful heart, be strong, fear not. Behold, your God will come with vengeance, even God with a recompense. He will come and he will save you. Then the eyes of the blind shall be opened, and the ears of the deaf shall be unstopped.
Then shall the lame man weep, as in heart, and the tongue of the dumb sing. For in the wilderness shall waters break out, and streams in the desert, and parched ground shall become a pool, and the thirsty land springs of water. In habitation of dragons, where each lay shall be grass, and reeds, and rushes.
And an highway shall be there, a way, and it will be called the way of holiness. The unclean shall not pass over it, but it shall be for those. The wayfaring men, though fools, shall not err therein. No lion shall be there, nor any ravenous beast shall go up thereon. It shall not be found there, but the redeemed shall walk there. And the ransomed of the Lord shall return and come to Zion with songs and everlasting joy upon their heads. They shall obtain joy, they shall obtain gladness, and sorrow and sighing shall flee away.
This is the generation of them that seek him, that seek thy face, O Jacob. Lift up your heads, O ye gates, and be ye lift up, ye everlasting doors, and the King of glory shall come in. Who is this King of glory? The Lord strong and mighty, the Lord mighty in battle.
Lift up your heads, O ye gates, even lift them up, ye everlasting doors, and the King of glory shall come in. Who is this King of glory? The Lord of hosts. He is the King of glory. 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 He is the King of glory.